I didn't realize I was being punished at the time. That's the thing about growing up inside a family dynamic, you assume it's normal because it's all you know. I only figured it out years later, sitting in my car after a therapy appointment, gripping the steering wheel while my therapist's words echoed in my head. It sounds like your intelligence became a liability in your family. That sentence cracked something open. So here's the story. I'll try to keep it coherent, but this has been a long time coming. I was the smart child from the beginning. I taught myself to read at 4. I was obsessed with encyclopedias, puzzles, and those cheap science kits that never worked the way the box promised. In kindergarten, I corrected my teacher, politely, when she said whales were fish. She laughed and called me our little professor. At home, my parents told that story at every family gathering. They sounded proud when they told it, but something about the way they smiled always felt tight. By 2nd grade, I was reading at a high school level. Teachers sent notes home recommending gifted programs. My parents framed my report cards. On the surface, I was the golden child. Underneath, things were already shifting. My younger brother wasn't dumb, but school didn't come easily to him. He struggled with reading, hated homework, and cried when he got bad grades. My parents responded by hovering over him constantly, extra help, extra patience, extra reassurance. I, on the other hand, was fine. That word became the foundation of everything. If my brother forgot his homework, my parents emailed the teacher. If I forgot mine, I was irresponsible. If my brother got a C, he was trying his best. If I got an A-, my mom asked what happened. I learned early that being smart meant being expected to be flawless. By middle school, the punishments became clearer. Not physical. Nothing dramatic. Just quiet, invisible punishments. If my brother broke something, it was an accident. If I broke something, I should have known better. If I argued my point too well, I was talking back. If I corrected my parents, I was disrespectful. I stopped raising my hand in class as much because teachers started saying things like, "Let's give someone else a chance." I understood that. What I didn't understand was why my parents used the same logic at home. "Stop showing off," my dad would say if I explained something too thoroughly. Once, when I was 12, my mom snapped, "Not everyone needs to know how smart you are." I hadn't been bragging. I'd been answering a question. That was the first time I felt ashamed of my own brain. High school was where things escalated. I took AP classes. I joined academic clubs. I stayed up late studying because I was terrified of slipping, even a little. Intelligence wasn't just what I had anymore, it was what I owed. Meanwhile, my brother barely passed some classes. My parents shifted fully into protector mode with him. Teachers were out to get him. The system was unfair. His anger was understandable. My stress was invisible. When I said I was overwhelmed, my mom laughed and said, "You'll be fine. This stuff is easy for you." When I asked for help with college applications, my dad said, "You don't need help. You're the smart one." They paid for my brother's tutoring without hesitation. When I asked for SAT prep, they said I was being dramatic. The first time I realized I was being punished for being smart happened during a family dinner my junior year. My uncle made a joke about politics. I calmly disagreed and explained why, citing sources we'd literally discussed in my civics class. The table went quiet. My dad cleared his throat and said, "You always have to be right, don't you?" Everyone laughed. I felt heat rush to my face. I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't insulted anyone. I'd just known something. Later that night, my mom pulled me aside and told me I embarrassed my father. "You make people feel stupid," she said. That sentence lodged itself in my chest like a shard of glass. I started pretending I didn't know things. Senior year, everything collapsed. I got into a top university with a partial scholarship. I was ecstatic. I ran into the living room waving the acceptance letter. My parents' reaction was muted. "That's great," my mom said, then immediately added, "But what about your brother? He's going to feel bad." That was the moment I realized my achievements weren't just neutral, they were threatening. A week later, my brother failed a class and exploded. Screaming, slamming doors, calling everyone idiots. My parents grounded him for exactly 1 day. That same week, I got AB+ in calculus. My dad lectured me for an hour about wasted potential. The punishment peaked the summer before college. My parents sat me down and told me they wouldn't be helping with tuition beyond what they'd already promised, money they then quietly redirected to my brother's community college expenses. "We know you'll figure it out," my mom said. "You always do." I worked 2 jobs. I took out loans. I didn't complain. Because complaining would have meant I wasn't fine. College was the first place where my intelligence wasn't treated like a character flaw. Professors encouraged questions. Friends liked debating ideas. No one accused me of showing off for being curious. But the damage was already done. I panicked over mistakes. I tied my worth to performance. I felt crushing guilt every time I succeeded, like I was stealing oxygen from someone else. When I graduated with honors, my parents attended the ceremony, but left early. My brother didn't like crowds. The breaking point came years later, at a family holiday gathering. My brother, now fully grown, was ranting about his job. He claimed his boss was incompetent, and that he could run the company better himself. The irony wasn't lost on me. I gently asked if he'd talked to HR. He snapped, "Not everyone thinks they are smarter than everyone else like you." The room went silent. My mom sighed and said, "See? This is what we mean. You always cause tension." Something inside me finally snapped. I said, very calmly, "I didn't do anything wrong." My dad looked at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. That's when I understood. In my family, intelligence was acceptable only if it stayed quiet, useful, and self-sacrificing. The moment it took up space, it became a problem. I'm low contact now. I'm still smart. I still love learning. I'm just no longer willing to apologize for it. And I'm finally learning that being the smart child was never the issue. The issue was a family that didn't know how to celebrate one child's strengths without feeling like it diminished another. I was punished not because I was cruel or arrogant, but because I reminded them of what they were afraid to face. And it took me decades to stop shrinking myself to make other people comfortable. But I'm done shrinking.